I think Joe gave a really good introduction of what Internet of Things is and all the devices. But as you notice, Internet of Things, nobody's going to be wiring the devices to the cloud or to the network. Predominantly, it's going to be driven by wireless communication because that's so much easier, right? So my first chart here is actually a screenshot of a video that MTT site has created, and you can see this video in our booth. So the world needs more resilience. Resilience against disaster, resilience against disease, resilience against factors that affect human quality of life. Okay? And again, this is chart here I have is very similar to the one Joe mentioned, but here it's actually a cartoon, which basically in all matters of version of Maslow's diagram, where internet access is a requirement for everything. Of course, the highest self-actuation, of course, you have friendly broadband internet. So this is kind of a joke. Again, it's kind of a first world joke, but it says this is not a joke, but it is a joke because right now, if we talk about the rest of the world, it's really the question should be, is internet access luxury or is it a necessity, right? So more and more people now within our society, within blogs, within the media are saying that access to the internet really should be considered a human right. Now, of course, you can see two different sets of opinion here. One is by Nicholas Negroponte, who was the founder of One Laptop Per Child, and he's saying that it is essential for education because the laptop by itself is not connected. You cannot establish educational programs. But on the other hand, you got the commissioner of the FCC. He says it's ludicrous to compare internet access to basic human rights. So obviously, we're in a contentious period of time where I believe that the first position is really going to start to take hold as people realize that it's not just a first world thing, right? There are a number of websites I can point you to, including this one. It's called ahumanright.org. Here, it's a lot of good resources you can take a look at. They make the case. 4.6 billion people live without internet access. And there's statements saying that we believe internet access is a human right. Okay? So more and more people and companies and organizations are saying that, hey, maybe they're right. Right? So who are we? I represent the Microwave Theory and Technique Society. So my objective, our mission as MTT is to grow the microwave community across the globe. You can see that word cloud there. These are the many technologies that we work on. LTE, 5G, Internet of Things, health, wearables. You see some of the pictures there, including terahertz system for health and security, health monitoring that Joe mentioned, global connectivity, MIMO, multiple input, multiple output. This is the technology needed to create 5G and other types of networks. So this is us. My community of engineers work on all these different topics. But so my message, as I've been carrying around as president this year of MTT is, hey, look at this diagram where we have low frequency all the way from lowered power line, Ethernet, to Bluetooth, to Wi-Fi, to 3G, 4G, and maybe even 70, 80 gigahertz. My message to the rest of the world and the rest of IEEE is that this is our community, MTT Inside. But soon I realized it's not just the microwave engineer, but all hardware engineers that leverage Maxwell's equation are really collectively with the same community. So I started working with the Antenna Propagation Society and the EMC now to send out the message saying that RF and antenna and hardware engineers, we create the physical layer, the 5-layer technology that enables wireless communication, geolocation, sensing applications for global connectivity, and of course the Internet of Things. So this is what we're about, and this is how we're going to connect the devices that Joe talked about to the cloud, where it can be analyzed, the data, and then a response given back. Now, very interesting enough, you see this funny cloud that looks like a globe. There's a whole cloud of something circling around it, and in fine print it says interplanetary network. What the heck is that? That sounds like science fiction, right? But I'm about to show you that it is not science fiction. This could become reality very quickly. So during this year, the MTT Society, together with AP and EMC, we submitted a proposal to the Future Directions Initiative to create something that we're calling it the Internet of Space, or IoT for short. Just as I mentioned before, 60% of the population does not have access to the internet. So there's an interest right now to look at the access from space, to create a network of low Earth orbit satellites that allow us to have low power handsets, like a cell phone, to talk into the network anywhere on the globe, on the land, on sea, in the desert, up in the mountains, such that we have global connectivity to anybody who needs it. So our message when we apply to the Future Direction Initiative is we want to create this technical community, which is my job as president, to empower people so that they can impact their own lives, share ideas, exchange information, and ultimately develop hope to the underserved people of the world. Think about that. With this kind of technology that's empowered by wire technology, we can do all these things. And so just to show you the fact that a humanitarian project of this type is just not low tech, right? People think humanitarian, sustainable, reworking plastic stuff. I'm talking about the hardest topic that you can think of. In fact, all the topics I show on this chart, there is no answer right now. I'm challenging my community in academia, in industry, find these solutions because none of this stuff is working right now. And these are challenges that you can write solid technical papers on and to develop solutions that are affordable and can be deployed. None of these are easy problems. So now the industry is getting involved. There's in fact a brand new space race that's being created. A number of companies, which I'll mention a couple, for example, SpaceX is starting a new design center in Seattle. I think it's going to be in Redmond. And they plan to build a 4,000 broadband satellite to create this network. They've been funded by Google. Google has invested $1 billion into this project. So between Google and SpaceX, this could actually work, right? Now, they have competition. The competition is going to be OneWeb and Airbus. They want to consider a different alternative solution, which is 900 satellites. Okay, and it's hard to see, but this is the constellation that OneWeb wants to put together. And OneWeb is led by a gentleman named Greg Weiler. And so what we have a battle of billionaire giants and aerospace companies. Okay, isn't that interesting, right? So we can either be on the sideline, or we as IEEE can create this technical community where we basically are going to be the moderator of this technical community. Here I'll show you another example, the Internet.org, led by Facebook, the non-traditional player in the space, but they want to become leaders, right? And I think they can certainly become partners of our Internet of Space platform. Read these messages. These are the same messages I'm talking about, resonating with a completely different community, right? So now we can see the momentum is building, multiple parts of the society ecosystem is saying, this could be something that we can go into. Another page I grabbed from Internet.org. Look at all these nameless companies who've joined, right? All will play a role to deliver this global connectivity to the world. IEEE has the opportunity to moderate this new technical community that MTT, EMC, our technical societies can be part of that. As I can see, I mentioned the technical societies where these companies live. MTT, EDS, Computer Society, ComSoc, Samsung, right? CES. These are our people. So we're going to engage these engineers, engage their management and so forth to help us to create this technical community. So I'm almost done. So, I mean, I bet your mind is like circling, says like, what the heck is going on? This is fantastic stuff. You know, this is a vision that I'm presenting that could be real within the next 5 to 10 years. So exactly what does it mean? It's very challenging, but IEEE has the opportunity to play a major role. But for now, let's get our heads out of our space and come back to the ground and say, what can we do now? A little bit more realistic. And that's part 2. Part 2 is, right now, MTT, along with the other higher societies, we have already created a number of site initiatives that will demonstrate the use of wireless technology for disaster relief and to encourage our membership in Region 10 in order to demonstrate these concepts. This first example I'll show you is of a workshop that we held 2 weeks ago in Japan. The topic of the workshop was called Resilient ICT for Disaster Relief in Japan. And you can see some of these topics. development and field trials of wireless relay using small unmanned aircraft. So these guys took a drone and basically instantaneously brought out a femtocell for a base station and provided communication in a triage situation after a tsunami earthquake. Okay? This gentleman here talked about how to create responses in terms of timelines on the emergency call to restoring communication within 72 hours, what you have to do to create that kind of infrastructure so that the first responder can access information and then to send it back. Okay? So the idea here is microwave systems for the benefit of humanity. Now, I'm almost done. So right now, more immediately, you can see this more information at our booth, is that MTT is launching a major site initiative into India. We take advantage of the fact that we have 29 MTT chapters and student branches. Okay? So our people, they're on the ground, they understand their language, they understand their culture, they understand what their needs are, whereas we as from the outsiders are not going to be coming in and imposing a Western solution, right? And seeing the site already has a number of ongoing projects, working with Cartech and others, we're going to merge these two communities, the wireless community and also the rest of the site, to look at how we can come up with solutions that are listed there. Disaster relief, emergency communications, and so forth, right? So again, instead of saying advancing technology for humanity, we're going to look at advancing microwave technology for humanity. We launched this effort last year when we were in Bangalore, IMARC 2014. You can see Peter Stecker there, myself, AJ Potter from APS. We're going to now take this conference, which will happen in December in Hyderabad, and launch our major co-located site initiatives. You can see these flyers in our booth. We're going to have a site panel discussion. We're going to talk about using ham radio, amateur radio, as a form of communication for disaster relief and so forth. So we're going to activate our membership in Region 10 to advance wireless technology for humanity. Right? So this is very exciting. We're and we're getting more people involved as we continue. So with that, my last chart, the world needs more humanity. So we've created a number of contact information where you can actually contact us.